On today's starting nine, Snake and Carl recap the ALDS, NLDS, and get ready for the wait. There's a rain delay. We're backed up too. It doesn't matter. We're going to get into it throughout this great starting nine. We got playoff coverage end to end. Let's get into it. Let's have a great show. Action! Welcome back to starting nine. You look ripped. What are you doing?
I don't know if it's like just a night thing because we're doing the show at night. I mean, I had a nice day of calories. Nothing out of the ordinary. Good workout this morning. The usual tank top. I don't know if it's the lights or whatever. But thank you for the compliment. And your beard looks good.
Well, we're going to get to that later in the show. I appreciate it. I got to move the microphone down so people can really appreciate the bone structure here. Also, shout out Colin Cooper, grinding out playoffs. He thought his team would be in the playoffs. They're not. He's still hanging out with us deep into the October nights here. It's Monday. It's late. We thought we'd do the ALDS. Yeah, he's with us. That's because Colin, do you want to come in for a second? Tell a little vibe check here. It's late. It's like 10:30 your time, Colin.
I mean, it's not. This is fine. Last week was after the West Coast game. I didn't finish that till like 4 a.m. Once it comes down to like exporting and uploading and all that shit, like it takes forever. But
yeah, it had to be the Dodgers. It had to be the Dodgers Padres. But hey, we did it. But yeah, the delay kind of sucked a little bit. We obviously wanted to see that game. Wanted to see the finality of that series. It hasn't necessarily gone the way I expected. We'll talk about this quick and then move on. But I thought it was huge that they lost game one. Cole pitched extremely well. They ended up winning 2 in a row, so it kind of swung things back in their favor. But then you get Cole out there again for game 4, and he did his thing. And I don't want to hear any more about is Cole worth the money or this guy's got to show up and pitch big games. He's making 300 whatever million. He is that guy. So let's put it to bed. Let's get over that shit. You'll probably hear it a lot from people in the future still because they'll forget how well he's pitched this postseason, and we'll see if he gets another start. But he is that guy. He absolutely is.
Fuck yeah, dude. Garrett Cole went out. Well, I should say his innings so far is 13 and a third innings, 2 starts. He's 2-0, 16 strikeouts, 10 hits, 2 walks. You're paying the guy $324 million. A lot of Yankee fans are like, well, this is it. Because the Yankees, they expect to be in these moments. This is really, and as unfortunate it is for the player, it's like those 33 starts really don't mean anything if you're going to show up and pitch as well as he has so far. So credit to him. Bummed out would be the perfect way to explain that the Guardians and Yankees didn't play on Monday night. So it means they play a day game tomorrow. We have so much to get into with the playoffs, but let's just stay in this right now because it's topical. We're talking about Garrett Cole. We're talking about the Yankees, the Guardians. Just knee-jerk reaction, advantage to who with the extra day of rest, but it's a day game. Yankee Stadium won't be rocking. Like, if you're the Yankees, do you take the extra day of rest for a day game, or do you want to play at night in the zoo?
No, I don't think that. I don't think they had a choice, really. I think the radar was probably – it looked a way to where they weren't going to be able to have enough of a window to get the game in. And the last thing they want to do is get the starters ready, start the game, and have to postpone it for the next day. In a game of this magnitude, game 5 of the ALDS between the Yankees and the Guardians, they want to see it from start to completion, as they should. So I'm curious. I don't know if anything's going to change. Maybe it will. Does Tyone still start this game for the Yankees? Because going into this game, I was saying that I wouldn't expect to see Tyone pitch more than 2-3 innings max, and then they hand the ball to the bullpen and try and get a couple runs early because we've seen them do that in the series already. They jump out to an early lead, and the Guardians don't necessarily have an offense they're going to score, 5, 6+ runs. They win close ball games. It's usually 3-1, 4-2, 5-3, games like that. So it seems like if the Yankees can jump out to that early lead, score in the first or second and third, it puts the Guardians on the defensive side of the game and makes it that much harder for them to win. So I'm curious to see what they do. I don't know when they're going to announce it, but with this extra day, and they announced the game time. What time will the game start?
4 p.m. I
4
believe it's
Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so I mean that could change things.
It's not going to be rocking, man. It's Yankee Stadium, dude. It's October. This is when it's the craziest. That's one of the best venues in sports, period, is Yankee Stadium in October. But, dude, if Nestor Cortez can go, he's 4 days rest. Can he pitch 5 innings tomorrow?
Yeah,
Fuck,
well,
I
I mean,
bet.
he's going to be available. He's going to be available. I think give Tyone, let him start, because you saw what happened in what was it? He came in game 3, was it, out of the bullpen?
Yeah, you got to. Well, I mean, I want to be respectful, but he did not do
well.
well.
No, he didn't do well.
Yeah, 3 hits.
So you
2
probably,
walks.
I would, yeah. He didn't do well. He didn't get an out. I believe that Nestor Cortez is much more able to handle that situation on the pen. Tyone didn't seem very comfortable, so let Tyone start the game, start fresh, see if he can give you 1 or 2 zeros. Then you have opportunities to throw a guy like Nestor Cortez, and look, Garrett Cole gets, I don't know, he threw a bunch of pitches, but if you need 1 out. Look, I was in that situation too, Game 7 of the World Series. Like, I just threw 100-something pitches. But if I need to throw 3 or 4 heaters or a cutter to a guy, I'll be able to do it. So we'll see.
So this is a great topic because you're bringing it up. You had that experience in 2016. So I saw the report that Garrett Cole. Let me take this. I saw the report Garrett Cole said he was available for Game 5. I thought he was saying it because it looks good. You're saying like he actually means it. He threw 110, 300. He's got all that money. He's like the A. You think for sure Garrett Cole was saying that because he wants to come out and pitch?
Well, if you don't win the game, you go home. Is there a risk of injury? Sure. There's a risk of injury when you get out of bed every morning. The risk is more on. It's more of a risk of the New York Yankees than Garrett Cole. And, I mean, he's signed his deal. It's guaranteed. And not that he wants to get hurt, but I think he would go out there and try and give the team an out or two if he had to. I just do.
For a lot of Yankees fans that are trying to figure out if they can get to the game tomorrow, it's a good time to remind you guys, Game Time, when I say today, Game Time's the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. With MLB playoffs underway, you guys plan on getting tickets, you need to be using Game Time. Game Time's a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score deals to last-minute tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. We've had tons of Barstool's fans using it, hitting us up on social about the great deals they're getting. I've been using Game Time all year. You've heard me talk about Game Time repeatedly. Game Time's on the table for the rest of the playoffs, folks. You're going to hear me talk about some games, and I'm going to be using Game Time. The question is who's joining me. The question is who's bold enough to say no to the mainstream traditional apps they've been subjected to for decades now. No, we've got a solution here, guys. It's the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. It's Game Time. It's here for you whenever you need it. It's easy to use, amazing deals, fastest growing ticket app in the United States. You're going to love it. Download the Game Time app. Go to the account tab to create a login and redeem code STARTING9 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms may apply. Download Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And I guarantee some Yankee fans are going to be cleaned up on Game Time tomorrow. Let's put just like a bow on this preview for Game 5. Biggest story going on right now is baseball as we publish this episode. So it's Savali. Now that the Guardians can come back with Shane Bieber in Game 5 now. I just think with how loaded the Guardians bullpen is, if you're not playing a game at night in Yankee Stadium, you don't have that October pull-in effect. I could sound like an asshole, but I know it was priced like plus 130. This to me is like a pick 'em. It's a pick.
It's a weird situation. We don't know what the starting pitching situation is going to look like. We know that the Guardians desperately want to get the ball in the hands of, obviously Clase, Karinchak. Is it Steven? It's Steven, right?
It's not Steven or
Steven. I mean, it's funny because no one even knew who he was before, like watched the games in the regular season. But now he's a dude. He came in, game 2, an inning and a third in relief, and punched out 4. The meat of the order in game 2. Obviously, that was a huge win. For them. Judge was 0 for 5 with 4 Ks, 2 for 16 in the series. Stanton is 1 for 12. So for the Yankees even to be, I don't know, it's kind of a wash. You would have expected the Yankees to have already won the series. I kind of did. I thought they were going to win it in 4. But the Guardians are scrappy as hell. I mean, if you look at what they did in game 2, they take it to the 10th inning. They score 2 in the top of the 10th in Yankee Stadium. They win that ball game. Then they rally down 2 in the bottom of the 9th for 3 runs to win game 3 at home. Oscar Gonzalez comes up again huge with a walk-off single. Had the huge walk-off to send them to the ALDS at home against Kluber. Just you can't count them out. So it's like I don't even know who to pick. I don't know who's going to start yet. If Tyone was going to start the game, nothing against Tyone. And now if he starts the game, and like you're saying, it's kind of a day game. It's kind of a in-between day-night game. I don't think the Guardians give a shit about playing on the road. They've already won an extra inning game in this series in Yankee Stadium. Whew, I don't know. Flip a coin.
They don't care.
But they don't give a shit. No, it's like they're playing with house money.
And that should be considered when we're looking at this because the Yankees are coming in there. Everybody's feeling pressure. Maybe except for Harrison Bader, who's been sensational, absolutely sensational against the Guardians. But otherwise, they rolled the lineup out tonight. Gleyber Torres starting at second. Oswaldo Cabrera, you're going to start at did I say that correctly? He's getting a nod at short. Aaron Hicks was scheduled to play left field. Now, I know a lot of this factors in the fact that Savali's a split guy, he's lefty, and you're going to want to get a good look from righty bats. But I honestly think if this was if baseball was played in 5 innings, then the Yankees absolutely would have the advantage in any game that they would play against the Guardians. But between innings 6 and 9, there's no way anybody can look me dead in the face and tell me that the Yankees are a conclusively better team innings 6 to 9 than the fucking Guardians. Because I think, again, 1st to 5, no doubt about it. The Yankees line up, all that shit. But when it comes down to it, the pitching, you've seen it. Like, it's so tough for the Yankees. Dude, they're putting up a historic MVP season from Aaron Judge, and you don't have a couple arms to go with that at the back end of the bullpen. That's a very frustrating thing for some teams and fan bases. Especially you look bullpen. It's like the bullpen's one of the first things that can get fixed in going into a season. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I like Clay Holmes. I like Wandy Peralta. He's got a silly sinker, by the way. Like maybe Zach Britton-ish. Like it's got some funk to it. Was it surprising to you to see Wandy Peralta close the 9th instead of Holmes? Holmes pitched the 8th. Like it's kind of a weird situation there. He wasn't available, or he's available, but they didn't use him in game 3, and then he pitches the 8th instead of the 9th in game 4. I don't know, because they might say, oh, it was a matchup thing, but no, like your closer pitches the last inning. It doesn't matter. There's no matchup thing. Like your closer gets the last 3 outs. So I'm kind of confused. I don't know the whole story, but it's weird.
Purely outside perspective, not being a clubhouse guy or anything, it looks to me like Aaron Boone has, like, he's saying everything but it. And it is, you don't trust Clay Holmes right now. Like, and whether it's right now or he doesn't trust him, period. But the sense of, like, oh, we were only going to use Clay Holmes in an emergency situation. Like, bro, it was fucking ninth inning with a 2-run lead. Like, that was an all-star reliever from your squad in the first half. And you're telling me at this point you're just going to kind of roll the dice with matchups. Makes zero sense to me. And when stuff doesn't make sense, take the easiest explanation available. And the easiest explanation available to me right now is that Aaron Boone's walking in the situation going, I'm something about Clay Holmes. Now, I don't know about the stuff. I'm not saying health-wise or whatever, but to me, this is just a touch and feel thing where Aaron Boone's like,
I'm with you because I saw the stuff. The stuff was pure.
Awesome.
The stuff was like, it's a 10 out of 10 health-wise. And look, I mean, no one feels 100%, especially at this point in October. But just judging by the way he's moving, his arm action, and the way it's coming out of his hand, he seems healthy. So maybe there is a little apprehension to put him in certain situations, but I mean the stuff still looks pretty damn good. I mean you go with your boys at this point in time, and we'll talk about Phillies bullpen in a little bit. But you know, you can look a certain way at the end of the regular season and maybe scuffle a little bit. But this is October. Like, you know, your big boys, you know, need to show up at these moments. And, you know, I mean, he looked pretty good to me. So, I don't know. They need to figure that out.
yeah, it's a awkward situation, I would say, especially Yankees fans sorting through these emotions. They thought they'd run through it. We'll get to the other side of the American League bracket later. I feel like there's just more timing and more kind of leeway to get into the Astros. I do want to talk very much about the National League. And now, as a Cubs fan, I have historically been biased to the National League. You came up as an American League guy, then converted to the National League. I've always just loved the National League. A lot of that's just the Cubs bias and growing up with two teams in the same city. But as we get in the National League playoffs, regardless, without my team in it, I will always cheer for the National League. I will always cheer for the National League. Like, I'm not even saying it as like the Big Ten guy who's like, well, if Illinois is not in the Rose Bowl, I cheer for the Big Ten team. It's more than that. Like, I identify as a National League guy. We'll see if that still remains a thing now without the DH and how normalized it becomes. But getting into the National League, I just delighted with this playoff format. Are you? I guess let's start there. Are you happy with this, the way the playoffs have shaken out these upsets?
I do. Yeah, I really do like it, and it shows that, you know, we have two teams. Well, at least the Phillies. You know, they have had less than, or the Padres also have less than 90 wins. They're matching up in the NLCS. It's really fucking cool, and it shows you that if you can just make your way in somehow to October, like it's not 162. That's already been played out. Like, the best teams show themselves over the course of a 7-month season. But when you get into October and you have to play a 3-game wild card or a 5-game DS or a 7-game, you know, CS and World Series, anything can fucking happen. Like, if you have a couple hot starters, your bullpen is clicking, or you got guys like we'll talk about with San Diego, the bottom of the order, like, is stepping up and contributing in big time situations. So that's what it's really about. I do like the format. Initially, I was like, well, it would have been nice if you give these wild card teams an extra day, but like it worked its way out. It obviously did, because, you know, the Mets the Padres took down the Mets, and then they just beat the Dodgers. So it didn't faze them. And the Phillies took down the Cardinals, and they just beat the Braves. So,
but what about Dodgers fans or Braves fans that are like, hey, we were the better team and we had time? Like, this is a big argument now, is people saying we had time off. We had time off bullshit. And they have momentum fuck our home field advantage.
Man, I promise you,
it's all pussy stuff to me.
Those guys were not upset at all to have 3 or 4 days. You get a day completely off. You're hanging out with your family. You're going to, you're on a boat somewhere, or you're taking your kids to the zoo, or you're going to an art museum or a history music, whatever. You're walking around the city. That energizes you. It's like the rest and the recovery, and you get the quality time with your teammates and your family and your friends that maybe come in town. A day to just completely shut down, and then you have a workout. You have an inter squad. You're seeing live arms, or you're like, no, that's. I would rather have the 3 or 4 days off than have to play a wild card series and then have 1 day turnaround and then jump into the DS. Any day, anything outside of that is just excuses. You lost, so what? You had the bye. You didn't earn it. You didn't play well enough to beat the team you played. Period. End of story.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, because I heard Snedeker say, like the 5 days off didn't do us good. Fuck that, man. Like, it's
Dansby Swanson won't say that though. Dansby Swanson said they just outplayed us. And that's the type of stuff where they start to get like, if you're gonna say, I didn't like it. Go talk to the guys.
You didn't like it. Well, that's too bad.
I don't want to shit on Snicker. He's a fucking legit
guy.
I'm not
shit.
But it's a shitty comment. But it's a shitty comment.
I don't care.
I am. I'll shit on him.
Like, I don't
it's
care
a shitty
who
comment.
said it. Like, if it's my best friend that said it, it's like, man, no. You had the advantage. You got a day or two completely off. You had team workouts, inter squads. You got outplayed. Tip your cap. I mean, you don't have to tip your cap, but you got outplayed.
I'll tip it. I want to talk about the Braves for a second. I do want to give a shout out real quick to there are young Yankees fans that today was the biggest day of their life. And I'm not talking about teenagers. There's like 11, 12-year-old kids walking around. Dad saved up money, got the ticket from a buddy from work. We're coming out. You don't have to go to school tomorrow. They got rained out today. There are kids that were at the stadium today wearing their jerseys with the fucking stupid name on the back because they're Yankee fans. And they had to go home today. They're very sad. I feel bad for those kids. At the end of the day, though, you are still Yankee fans. This will be the only time I ever feel bad for you.
Well, that sucks. It sucks that they didn't get to see the game. They probably don't get to go tomorrow, But, I mean, what are you going to do, man? I mean, it rained forever. And as a fan, you don't want to see the game. You don't want to see the game started and then, burn your arm. I don't know. It's just not. It's not a way you want to see Game 5 of the DS played out. So yeah, it sucks for the kids and the families that were trying to get to that game and see it, and have maybe it was their only opportunity to see them play, and it was Game 5, and it sucks. But we need a clean radar so we can get 1 through 9. Hopefully not 18 like the fucking. Mariners and Astros played. But, yeah, it's a shitty situation. We didn't love it either because we didn't want to have to – we're going to live stream the game and then do our show after and be in bed probably at 2:30. So, yeah.
Tough. We're going to push the machines tonight. When we're going to do that, I mean, we have a couple more weeks left where it's heavy-hitting duty, and that's just kind of what it demands. I will say, if you are a Yankee fan and you can't go to the game – today at the time of recording, I do have a special offer for you guys. I'm sorry you got rained out last night, but our friends at Omaha Steaks have a deal for you that is going to knock your fucking socks off. And I honestly mean it. Your socks are going clean off your feet. From tailgate parties to busy weeknights, the flavor experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to savor all the flavors of fall with mouth-watering assortments of perfectly aged steaks, ultra-juicy burgers, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Guys, we got a 50% off site-wide sale by shopping their semi-annual sale. This sale only happens twice a year. It's on now, 50% off, delicious customer favorites. And we should just say flavorites because it's flavor and it's favorites.
It is a favorite.
It's a favorite. It's fucking delicious favorites. TM it. Snake and Carl. When you use promo code STARTING9 at checkout, take an additional $30 off your order. That's $30 off your order and the 50% on top. The world's best beef. Guys, naturally aged. Every steak, every entree is flash frozen, vacuum sealed, ready to share with your family. I love Omaha steaks. You've heard me, you've seen me, you follow me on social media. You know I've been a bad boy at this meat. That's how I operate. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com. Enter starting 9 at checkout and stock up on all their fall flavors today. That's code starting 9 at checkout for an extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required, but the only way you know is if you go to omahasteaks.com and enter starting 9 at checkout. Okay. Same time, though, fuck those little Yankee fans. They're going to spend the rest of their life watching mommy and daddy Steinbrenner sign every single free agent imaginable. So, no, I don't have any sympathy for those kids. But I do have sympathy for the young baseball fan whose heart is broken temporarily. Whatever. There are plenty of kids in Los Angeles right now whose hearts are ripped to shreds because the 111 win Dodger team could not advance out of the NLDS. It's very sad. It is very sad, but we talked about earlier, hot team advances wins. We're going to get to the Padres in a second. Just quick reactions for you for the Dodgers. Heartbreak City, right? Right?
I listened to Dave Roberts, interview, and it said, he was saying just shock, and he couldn't believe it and devastated. Yeah, I guess so, but you got outplayed. I don't think that they expected the Padres to come out the way they did. Game 2 was a must-win, obviously, for the Padres. To go down 2-0 to them, you lose. You probably lose that series. Darvish, Kershaw, they pitched about equal. The Padres just did more to get the job done. Hader is back. Hader had, a million ERA for them in his first, 12 appearances or whatever the case was. And, everyone's hitting the panic button. But the bullpen had a .56 ERA in the series. Hader gave up, one hit, I believe, five or six Ks. He was just unbelievable. He's throwing 100, 101 miles an hour. I don't know if it's a juice jugs gun on TV, but he's just absolutely dialed in. And the way Turner, Trey Turner was swinging the bat, it's like, oh shit, you can't get this guy out. Freeman swung the bat well, just didn't quite do enough. And like I said before, the Padres had contributions from up and down the lineup. Not something that you saw from them, consistently throughout the regular season. Jake Cronenworth to me is going to be an all-star caliber player year in, year out. Eventually, he is going to be that guy. I got to play with him briefly. I love what I saw from him. He's an unbelievable athlete, loves to win. He's a great teammate, and he knows the game really well. He's scanning the field. He's looking for opportunities to do things to get on base, especially in big situations and playoff games. Had some of the biggest hits in the series. Austin Nola, Trent Grisham, Kim. These guys swung the bat well. Soto came up in some big spots and had some big hits. He didn't have, the extraordinary postseason performance that everybody expected, but he had some big hits. He had a game-tying single. I don't even remember which game it was. But like I said, it was 1 through 9 these guys produced. Obviously, Machado swung the bat well. Darvish threw the ball well. Musgrove threw the ball well. The one game, they didn't really get good pitching. Starting pitching was Clevenger. That's the game the Dodgers won. But man, they played as well as they needed to, and even better than I think anybody expected to from the Padres. But it's the same thing kind of with the Phillies. It's just getting hot at the right time.
Right. I think Dave Roberts is to have a leg to stand on and talk about if they had time off. I haven't seen anything from him about it. I know Snicker talked about the 5 days off. They came out right away. They were up 3-0 against Clevenger. Was it 5-0? They had hit Clevenger around enough early in the first game. And that to me was like, hey, Dodgers, you're here. You're ready to compete, all this shit. So, I understand if Braves fans want to bitch. I shouldn't even say I understand. I sense why they would be able to do it. So I guess that is a long-winded way of me saying I do understand. But when it comes to the Dodgers, like, they had the lead early. They had the lead in game 2. They had Kershaw going with pitching with a 1-0 lead at home. Ball's in your court, Dodgers. Ball's definitely in your court.
Game 4, bottom 7. Dodgers winning 3-0. How about that? Like, that is that's a game that 99.9% of the time the Dodgers win, right?
Oh,
I mean,
fuck yeah, dude.
And it's Padres scored 5 runs in the 7th. So that's when Soto had the game-tying single. Cronenworth had the go-ahead 2-run single. It just kind of felt like it was meant to be. I don't want to say it's a passing of the guard, because I think that's just such a stupid fucking thing to say.
Yeah, and it's not either, because the Dodgers have $100 million to spend this offseason.
Yeah,
it's
not that in any way. Maybe this is what the Padres needed to do to be able to, like, finally believe that they can compete with them and not, like, kind of look up at them constantly. And not that the players in that clubhouse do that. But there's just that sense of, like, oh, shush, the Dodgers are coming to town, or we got to go to L.A. Like, everybody knows how difficult it is to play against the Dodgers. But I think that feeling shrinks now. I think that the Padres have earned that, and they've shown themselves. They've shown the fan base. The organization knows now that we can hang with these guys. We can beat these guys. I mean, it took everybody in that lineup, everybody in that bullpen, that starting rotation, to get the job done. And look, the Phillies are in the exact same situation. I mean, they both had incredible. I mean, their journey from the end of the season throughout the wild card and the DS, very similar paths to get to where they're at. And God, I just love this series. I think it's going to be an unbelievable series. I think the Phillies are incredibly underrated. Their lineup is very, very dangerous. And if the Padres can perform like they have, especially from 5 through 9, they're extremely dangerous also.
Fuck yeah, dude. 5 through 9, the Padres rolled. Trent Grisham, the best player in the playoffs so far, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, is Bryce Harper. I think he's, at the time of recording, is hitting .435 with a .480 OBP and a .957 slug. He's got 6 extra base hits, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and 23 at-bats. He's doing it. Bryce Harper's doing it. When you talked about the Phillies at the start, it was like, hey, Harper needs to get hot, needs to roll. Now, the guy who's behind Bryce Harper, if you pull up the playoff statistics, there are 2 hitters that stand out. Now, I'd say Bryce Harper is the clear top performer through the first. I think there's been 24 games played in the postseason so far this year. He's clearly been the best guy. There's also a clear number 2. The rest is up for grabs.
I don't know who you're going to say.
Take a guess. He's probably has the lowest batting average of all qualified hitters going into the postseason. Nice boy.
Lowest batting average is all the qualified hitters, huh?
Very nice boy. Talented.
Rhys Hoskins?
No, a little dorky looking too. I sent you a picture of him one time. He was like, I can't believe this guy is playing center field. It's Trent Grisham. I did.
Yeah.
He hit one.
Okay. I thought you were talking about in the Phillies.
A couple other guys. I was sending you pictures of some hammers. Trent Grisham, to be fair, is a highly regarded young player who, it appears to me, made changes in his game when he got to the big leagues to hit for more power. Like, I feel like Trent Grisham could hit for a higher batting average and get on base more, but he plays for a higher slug, and that's kind of what you saw throughout the regular season. Now, nail me to the cross if I'm wrong, Padres fans. I'm just shooting from the hip from what I've researched. Well, no, I understand, but he's fucking hot now, dude.
One look, 450 plus at bats. He's hitting under 190 in the regular season. That's shocking. I had to look it up. I didn't realize it was that low. He's a much better player than that stat line, and he's maybe he needs this moment to kind of hit that next gear to jumpstart himself into, I don't know if it's a confidence thing, because the ability's there. I mean, you don't play center field for one of the best teams in baseball, like, for no reason. Like, you have to be able to do quite a few things well, and he can hit, he can run, he can. I don't know, he can't throw very well, but he is a plus defender, and I don't know his exact stats, but I know that he had 4 or 5 hits in that series, and some really big
dominated.
Ones. So
yeah, he's got 3 home runs this postseason. He's done very well. Showed up against the Mets, and again, 25 years old. And I love what you're talking about here. This could be something that propels him. People are so quick to forget just like the sport. It's a sport. They're competing. They're trying their best. He's got, like, it's not like just fucking Trent Grisham just shows up and he gets out of the car and someone's like, all right, 20% chance you get a hit today. Like, he actually has to go to the field and prepare and take BP and stuff. And if you look at his minor league numbers, this is a guy who, like, is categorically way too good for any level of competition but Major League Baseball. Like you said, this is the first year. Now I'm talking about the slug. The slug's down big. The average is down big. The strikeouts are up. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It's his first year where every single day he's shown up and the Padres are asking him to play center field. They did it a little bit last year, maybe did a little bit after they traded for him in 2020. But he's there. He's there. He's got this October moment. This the beauty of the playoffs, bro. This the beauty that, like, it's if you pull up playoff stats, number 1, Bryce Harper, no one would be surprised with that. Number 2, Trent Grisham, like I said, lowest qualified batting average going in the playoffs, and he's certainly carrying it. So is Profar, and you talk about the Padres going into the next series with the Phillies. Both teams are so hot. Both teams, to me, like, how could you doubt the Phillies' magic? But then it's like the Padres, now that Hader's going, like, AJ Preller is probably getting his first nights, like, of decent rest in months. Because he's been sitting here being like, man, I traded for Juan Soto, hit 250 for us. Man, I traded for Hader.
And man, I lost Tatis, and
yeah.
I mean,
Tatis $300 million and he pops.
If you would have told me the Padres would be at home right now towards the end of the year, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it. I could see it. But to do what they did against the Mets, and then if it doesn't just reaffirm or confirm their legitimacy doing what they did to the Dodgers, like, I don't know what does. I mean, you beat them 3-1 in the DS, and this matchup is so intriguing to me, and I think more exciting than Cleveland or New York versus the Astros. I just think it is, maybe because we haven't seen these teams in these positions in the Padres, what is it, 20 plus years, and Philly, it's 12 years or so, 13 years. So it's 2 very, very different ball clubs, opposite sides of the country, and so much to be excited about, really. The blossoming of some of the young stars in the game, kind of the reemergence of some other guys. Just seeing guys break onto the scene at this point in the season is exciting, because that, and I think Grisham's a prime example of a guy who hit 185 during the regular season. The team stuck with him, said, hey, you're playing center field for us. Gets to the postseason, has a hell of a wild card series, an awesome DS. Man, and that's that momentum moving forward. You never know what's going to happen. We'll see if he can stay hot.
Dude, the Padres, like, going to the postseason is a 5 seed, and you're telling them that they're hosting an NLCS? That is like, I don't know what I don't know what Penn National odds makers would have priced that at the start. I would imagine it would have been very high to have the Padres hosting, but they're hosting the Phillies. And the Phillies come in with just a tremendous amount of momentum. I blogged about it today. I was putting together my top 9 moments in honor of starting 9 of the playoffs so far. And for the Phillies-Braves series, of all the stuff that happened in that series, there were some close games to start, and then the Phillies kind of turned on a little bit. There's nothing to me that said the Phillies are fucking here than rocking Spencer Strider in that third inning because he shut like if you watched innings 1 and 2, I mean, especially that second inning punch in the side, you were just sitting there. I'm sitting there thinking, holy fuck, this dude. They must have pulled a fast one with this injury just so they could shut him down a little bit. And then that home run from Rhys Hoskins, that bat spike, and then bringing in Harper, he goes deep to center. Does this offend you let me take a breath here because this is a very serious question I'm about to ask you. Did it offend you at all that Kyle Schwarber said it was the best home playoff atmosphere he had ever experienced, given that you had won a World Series with him and played in some crazy atmospheres, I'd imagine?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's in the moment. Philly hasn't experienced that, and was it 2011, 2012, or whatever it was. So, like, to be, it's probably very similar to be a part of something like that like the fans have been craving, and the organization has been waiting for, and to see how the team was combined and formulated, a guy from here, a guy from there. Bryson Stott, young player. Alec Boehm, blossoming. Real Muto, free agent sign. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, like Rhys Hoskins. Like this is a great combination of players. Nick Castellanos, Gene Segura, the trade for Brandon Marsh. Like they've done extremely well. And you mentioned them. Game 3, the 6-run inning against Spencer Strider. It's even more rewarding because of, how well Strider pitched against the Phillies during the regular season. I believe they struggled to hit him almost every time he went out there. And to be backed up by one of the most consistent, quality, calm, collected dudes on the planet and Aaron Nola, and then Zach Wheeler. Game 1, you win a start by Ranger Suarez. I mean, it didn't look pretty. They almost came back. The Matt Olson 3-run homer against Zach Eflin. But, regained his composure, got the job done. Braves were able to, rally behind Wright in his dominance against Zach Wheeler. But there was only a total of 7 hits in Game 2. So that was a pitcher's duel. Braves came out ahead of that one. But then they didn't win a game after that. I mean, they weren't really close games. They weren't close games.
No, I mean
that was cool to see.
Yeah, scores Game 1 looked close, but it really
closer
wasn't.
than
The
it
Phillies
was.
were in control. Yeah, and then to your point, Kyle Wright was in cruise control Game 2. And then that just goes back to me, like the Phillies' the strength of they just come back Game 3, rock. They come back Game 4, they rock. And so you have that momentum colliding against the Padres momentum. I just don't know which one's more special because it's the Phillies going into the St. Louis and winning the way they did. It was almost like they were just so lethargic and out of it in Game 2. Not lethargic, I should say, Game 1. It's almost as if, hey, you're going into St. Louis and playing Albert Pujols at home in his last playoff series. It's going to be way harder than you think. They're down 2-0. They come back. They end up winning 6-3. And then they come in Game 2. They really do cruise. Aaron Nola throws a gem. And then, like that point, it's just the momentum's very hot right now with the Phillies. Then you go opposite Padres. So, gun to your head, if you had to pick one team to win, who do you think is going to win?
Out of these two?
Yeah.
God, it's such a stupid answer to say it's a coin flip, but I'm gonna pick Philly. But it's so close. Like I mentioned before, the Padres bullpen. 0.56 ERA. The Phillies bullpen, 15 Ks, no walks, and 6 innings in that in Game 4. It's like the Phillies bullpen is dialed in. The Padres bullpen is pretty much dialed in. And what's even more impressive too about the Phillies series is not only did they win those ball games, but they kept adding like the tack-on runs to just continue to put their foot on their throat. The 6-run inning, then you have the Harper homer, the Harper single after that. It's just like they keep adding on. And then, which game was was it game 4? I think it was game 4. He had Real Muto's inside the park home run. Not to mention Marsh with the 3-run homer early to jump out to a 3-0 lead. Harper hits a homer. Real Muto has a friggin' inside the park home run. It's just like, typically you would expect that to be, okay, the Phillies jump out to a 3-0 lead. The Braves come back and they tie it in the 4th or 5th, and then it's a dogfight. But no, they didn't allow that to happen. The bullpen and the starting pitching was lights out, and the offense continued to put runs on the board to give them some breathing room. So, got to give them a ton of credit. Defending world champions, go down 3-1 in the series to the Phillies, and I don't want to say that it's that World Series hangover, because look, I mean, they were good all year, and they were fighting the Mets to climb into position to win the division. And there's no hangover if you're down however many games in the division with a week and a half left and you end up winning it. Like, those boys were dialed in, ready to play. So you got to give all the credit to the Phillies here.
I think that the series goes back to San Diego, and it's 3-2 Phillies. I think there's a game 6 in San Diego, and I think the Phillies have an edge 3-2. And I think from there it's just coin flip city, but just the way I size it up, I think there's a split in the first 2 games, and then it's a 2-3-2. I think they go back to Philly. Just the crowd you see from Philly, it's hard not to imagine the Phillies can't pull 2 or 3 off there. I do have some other predictions about this, but I do want to thank before our good friends at Beard Guyz. You've seen some great playoff facial hair. If you're watching this on YouTube, you've noticed a historic beard. And then, Jake, you grow facial hair too during October. Yeah. Beard Guyz offers a comprehensive collection of beard care products for all types of facial hair and skin types. Cleanse, enhance, moisturize, and style. I can read the rest of this copy, or I can tell you guys I am growing out my playoff facial hair using the Beard Guyz products, and I've already experienced tremendous success. Jake, you were telling me before we recorded, you said, man, Carl, your growth, you're growing.
Well, I will say that it does look darker, and I commend you. Just keep it going, use the products, and we'll see. Give them a couple weeks. I mean, that thing is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I got a big jawline to work around here, guys. So give me some slack on the surface area. Meanwhile, I don't think there is a more famous baseball beard, which I fucking wish it wasn't the case. I wish you had a shitty beard I could talk shit about, but your beard. If someone was like, hey, rank all-time MLB playoff beard, someone's probably like Family Feud, you're on the fucking board. And I don't even know if you were using it at the time, but you're using it now and it looks great. And it's Beard Guyz. Wait, you do agree with me, though, that you're on the Family Feud board, right?
I think I would be. I think I'd put maybe like a guy like Brian Wilson up there as well. Yeah. Give me a minute to think about the other two.
He makes me so thinking about Brian Wilson just crushing a couple red beers, running the comb through his Red Bulls before he's come out, and then combing the beard, putting the fucking balm in it. Guys, the beard balm tames facial hair while keeping it soft and smooth. I don't even need to tell you about the beard serum because you're seeing it right now on YouTube, but I'm going to tell you anyways. It's there to help your pores open up and maximize growth experience. Beard oil softens the facial hair, hydrates the skin, reduces the itch. Craft your beard. Don't cut it, Colin. It's playoffs, baby. I'm getting this call to action right. You guys can craft your beard care routine today at beardguyz.com. Beardguyz.com. DM me your beard. Send it to me on Twitter or Instagram. I want to see your facial hair. Maybe some success stories too. Just fucking work with me here, guys. Beard Guyz. I told them I would grow a beard for the playoffs, and they were like, "Well, we like that, Carl." I didn't tell them that I can't grow a beard. So I'm
you can
putting these products to the maximum test here. Yeah, I got some ish. We'll see. Again, early results, tremendous results. Baby steps though. Baby steps. Beardguyz.com. Rate that ad read real quick. Scale 1 to 10.
4.2.
Fuck! I was a little all over the place.
No, it was good.
BeerGuys.com. Okay, I have a couple other things on the list I want to get to with you. Like, I'm watching these games. Is it? I don't want to break the barrier. I'm going to do it right now. I'm fucking jealous. I'm fucking jealous of you, dude. You got to sit in these dugouts. You got to be part of this. You got to chew the seeds. You got to be part of those fucking conversations. Like,
I do miss that part a little bit.
Oh, it's so good.
I miss the October part. Like, man. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to watch. Not tough to watch because of the games. Tough to watch because, man, just kind of want to be in there. But I don't want to pitch anymore, really, I don't think. So I'm okay. I'm okay with not being in there. But damn, I mean, just I want to go to a game. I want to go to a game.
Let's go.
Well, so we didn't go to the Phillies DS, so I'm like, do I go, and is it bad luck for them if we go? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if we wait to the World Series.
No.
We go to a CS game.
I think we go to a CS weekend game in Philly. Make a day trip, even though it's a night game. Bring the families.
Nah, I mean, they wouldn't be able to come.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Boys trip.
Well, I could go.
Boys night out in Philly. We're going to the American Revolution Museum.
We'll go to my old house. We'll go to my old house and see if they'll let us stay the night.
Wouldn't that be some shit?
Hey, I used to own this. Can I just stay the night?
Housekeeping.
Give you a couple $100.
You need me, Fluff Pillow?
Yes, please.
Yeah, dude. Good. I think I cheer more for Phillies in this situation if I had to pick a team based purely on my perceived attachment you would have to them. I'm like, I know you played for both squads, but you got boys in the Phillies. I like when we talk about it.
I like them all. Yeah,
inside information.
I like both groups of guys. So it's not even just based on that. Like, oh, I like these guys more personally. No, I like them all. Like, I just think that I think the Phillies, and they both have the momentum. It's hard to say one has more than the other because how could you? It's like equal. I don't think I think they're both equal in that sense of kind of riding off of the energy of where they started, how the regular season ended, and how far they've come to get to this point. And I don't think any of them are just like, oh, we're just excited to be in the CS. Like, no, it's exciting to be there, but you're 4 wins away from like what you play the entire season for. So if the Phillies win the series, the Padres will feel like they didn't accomplish their goals, and vice versa. The Phillies will feel the exact same way. I think it would have been easier to handle if they lose in that wild card to the Cardinals or Padres lose to the Mets. It's like, well, we got into the postseason and we got beat by the Cardinals, who have just the pedigree, and they've done this time after time, and it's what they do. And everybody would have been like, yeah, the Cardinals beat the Phillies. Like, yeah, no surprise. Or the Mets beat the Padres. Yeah, no surprise. But things happen very differently than that, and I don't think anybody's surprised now to see these two teams playing the way they are.
Yeah, success definitely breeds expectations. Like, you have a little bit of success, and then you get a little bit more expectation, and so on and so forth. The Phillies and the Padres are so evenly matched. I could go as far as to say they both have two dominant starting pitchers that are right-handed at the top of the rotation, followed by a lefty that can shut down any lineup at any time because they've got balls the size of both of our heads. They also have two managers that are very, very nice guys, but don't have really an October resume. Bob Melvin's more experience, obviously, than Rob Thompson, but guys that have been around baseball forever. They're both teams that are rally around superstars that are massive free agents who are drafted in the same draft class, just 2 picks apart from each other. They also have guys that they've traded for. They also have guys that they've signed and developed. They've got, it's just like they're literally and going in the playoffs If you mapped out strengths and weaknesses, they're right next to each other. Weakness, bullpen, strength, starting pitching, strength, middle of the lineup, weakness, end of the lineup. Like, and now you've seen how they've got here. They've also gotten here under the exact same like pretense of, dude, I can't believe you pull those upsets off. But then it's like if you're around the team, you're like, man, these teams are rolling. They're just waiting for a time to get hot. So going in the NLCS, I mean, I want Astros. I'm going to talk about the Astros, but this NLCS is one of the best matchups I can remember recent memory. Maybe it's because of the March Madness vibes. Maybe because I want the MLB playoffs to be better because they moved to a 12-team format. But I feel it in my bones. I feel it.
I feel it too. I kind of think it would be amazing, and what obviously can't happen, but if the Padres and the Phillies could somehow play in the World Series. It's not an option, but it's like two quote-unquote underdogs, and one of them is probably going to have to play the Astros.
Yeah, that's what has not been said, is that the Astros are going to win the ALCS in 5 games, whoever they play. I'm sorry. Maybe not 5, but they're so good.
Are you ready to talk about the Astros?
I am, actually. I am.
Okay. So what an absolutely crippling defeat and crippling way to start out the ALDS for the Mariners, losing game 1 in that fashion. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I feel like that series was like 2 weeks ago. But to have Verlander on the ropes, he gives up, 6 runs in 4 innings, 10 hits. You can't come back from that. It's like it's a TKO, and yeah, the Astros still have to beat you 2 more times. But after that game, are you shitting me? Like, I don't even want to know what it was like in that clubhouse after that game.
Well,
on
they
the
got
road,
there too. Yeah, I mean, they got there because they won the 8-1 game.
Oh, dude, like that is in. It's been talked about so many times on the network and all around the sport about Robbie Ray facing Alvarez. And regardless of if it was his idea to come in or Service asked him, "Hey, can you pitch?" and he said yes. Dude, you gotta pitch him better than that. You threw an 0-0 fastball middle away that he almost hit on the train tracks. And then you throw the same velocity heater, you just throw it on the inside part of the plate, and you're shocked that he took you deep? Sometimes major league hitters swing through pitches like that. But, man, your chance of, or your percentage of success in that situation after he just fouled one off, you go back to it, like, shame on you, man. Like, I don't care if you're in that situation. And this is, look, nothing against Robbie Ray, really, but you gotta be better than that. You can't throw that pitch there in that situation. Don't let Yordan Alvarez beat you. You could have pitched around him, so to speak, or just not give him anything. Try and get him chase out of the zone and deal with the next guy. But they let him beat them twice in that series, which were game-winning home runs. You got to know better. You got to be better than that.
Well, let's talk. Can we talk specifically about the Luis Castillo home run he gave up? Because I think the Robbie Ray home run is pretty clean cut. We've talked about this before. Left-handed power hitters dropping a barrel on inside pitches, whether you're lefty, righty, if it's a slider, if it's a fastball, if it's a changeup, just like a no-go zone. And I don't give a fuck about the heat maps for Yordan Alvarez or what he hits against sinkers. Flat out, flat fastballs, knee high, inside, get raked by power hitting lefties, if it's Yordan Alvarez or Danny Vogelbach.
And he's one of the best. He's becoming like the best left-handed power hitter in the game. Or one, okay, you can't say the
complete.
Best.
You could say he's coming like the most complete left-handed hitter. Yes,
and he's like Big Papi. I mean, that's just what he is. Like not just in the regular season, like big moments. Like he has that pedigree. I don't know his age.
The second home run, the first one is like, okay, fine, whatever. Like you down it in, stupid pitch, what? Like,
well, but even more
the second one was
not let it happen again.
But the second one was 98.
And it wasn't a foot outside.
Okay, if it wasn't a foot, it was up. It was up and over the plate.
He's a donkey and if you look at the swing, he had this much barrel, like still to play with. Like he didn't hit it off the end of the bat, not even close. Like when you're that big, and this is the opposite of Jose Ramirez. Like the guy has long arms. Jose Ramirez arms are probably half the length of Yordan Alvarez, and they're both great hitters. But you know, with bases open at bottom of the sixth, 2 outs. You just can't let it happen. Throw him that nasty changeup below the zone. Try and throw cheese, 6 inches above the strike zone. We just can't let he showed us that he's capable of that. Not just this season, not just in this postseason. We know what kind of guy he is. He did it to you game 1, a heartbreak, and then you allow it to happen again in game 2. And I'm not saying just like, intentionally walk him every time, but then they finally did it. I don't know if it was his next at bat in game 2 or in game 3. Scott Service finally gave this the old four. You think? Yeah, I think that's the right idea. A few at bats before that, but
yeah,
no.
I do have a great packaged up take on that fastball to Luis Castillo throw to Yordan Alvarez, but I want to at least recognize the guy who caught that ball could auction it, I would imagine, and he could use Whatnot. If you haven't heard of Whatnot, it's a live stream auction app where you can buy collectibles, comics, really almost anything else. Whatnot brings businesses and people together through commerce, where sellers can host live streams and engaged connoisseurs like yourselves can bid in real time. If you guys haven't checked out Whatnot, we've talked about it forever on Barstool now. Doug's is quarterbacking it. I was in the New York office this past week and got a chance to sit in and watch him do a Whatnot break, and it was great. The amount of engagement, these people care so much. It's like, give me 5 people that want to watch a car break, and I will go to war against 100 people. Like, these are just very passionate. This is an incredible community. I saw Colin was tweeting about auctioning off Frank the Tank's chewed up hat. People were saying they'll pay $1,000 for it. Colin, you got an eye for it. That's the way we roll on Start at 9, because Whatnot is the premier, by all means, premier live stream auction app. We'll be giving away a ton of stuff. We're going live on Whatnot, running live shows and selling never-before-seen auction items and Whatnot exclusives. Create a Whatnot account using the link in the description of this podcast and get $10 off your first purchase. And make sure you follow the Barstool Sports page to get alerted whenever we're going live. Tons of stuff, auctions, great deals. I'm going to auction off this take now. This take is going for, I don't know, probably $6.
Big money.
Yeah, big, 6. What'd I say? Big, 6. My take is that, and one of my favorite things that you and I have connected about is, it drove me nuts in college, and I was never by any means the best guy or even one of the best guys in my dugout. I played a ton. Thank you for fucking pounding strikes in the lower half of the zone. But I got a chance to play, being around the college team. It drove me nuts when very talented scholarship starting pitchers would come out and be like, I made my pitch. And it's like, oh, yeah, the fucking 8-hitter from Penn State, like, was able to square up, you made your pit. Like, why can't people just come out and just be like, I fucking left that over the plate? They don't do it. And it's just like one thing that we bonded over when we were doing the show where I was like, is it like that? Do you get mad about that? And you'd be like, dude, there's nothing worse than when a guy comes out of a game and he's like, well, I made my pitch. I don't know how they hit it. It's just like, well, they're good. Or sometimes the pitch is up. Or just like, they fucking hit it hard, dude. Just get over it. So when I looked at the Luis Castillo home run and everyone and their mother is like, whoa, what are you going to do about that? He's just the best. There's a side of me where it's very refreshing where you're like, look at the swing. Look how much barrel the guy had left. I don't give a fuck if it's 3 inches outside the zone. The ball's up. It's over the plate. He hammers it to left field. It's a fucking home run.
Yeah, I mean, maybe stop throwing him, giving him fastballs even close to the plate. Just throw him junk. Hopefully he chases. If not, he's on first base and not round the pillows, sitting back in the dugout. Like, what do you? I don't know. It's just the wrong time of year to allow something like that to happen. The wrong guy, but it's just that they're the Astros. They're the Astros. I guess if he's not going to beat you, somebody else might. So that's an argument too. But I would rather pick my spots with the guy behind him. I mean, it's fucking Bregman, it's Tucker, it's Gurriel. Mancini, McCormick, Maldonado, but I'd rather pitch to Bregman than Alvarez. It just would. That doesn't mean he's not going to hit a double in the gap, but I'd rather him.
Talk about two of the best hitters in the American League. It's not disrespecting one over the other. I don't know why. Well, especially game 2 at the base open, like you're talking about in the bottom of the 6th, not really a spot to hurt you. Or Robbie Ray with 1-0. Like, yeah, dude.
1-0, and he threw him another heater. Robbie Ray has done this for long enough. Fuck, he won a Cy Young last year. He knows enough to, if he just fouled off a heater that was, I don't want to say on the black away, but it was near the outside of the plate, slightly elevated. Then he throws him another one, but in a much better spot to hit. Doesn't mix in a wrinkle, change speeds. He just goes right back to the same velocity. And yeah, he has to. It doesn't mean it's going to automatically be a homer. But with Yordan Alvarez, I think the chances are pretty decent he's going to put a good swing on it at least. But, enough of game 2. I mean, game 3 was just, if the final dagger wasn't in your back already, I mean, 0-0 to the 18th?
It's either one of the best or the worst sweeps in MLB history. I can't wrap my head around it, and I do want to give Mariners some parting grace. I feel like you guys are going to turn a huge corner. You've got, J-Rod on the big extension. Him and Robbie Ray are the only two guys making over $10 million going into next year. Ton of room to spend. They got some veterans coming back. The whole pitching staff returned. So I do want to say, because we're going to get into how it's just impossible to beat the Astros, but if you're a Mariners fan, you're with us, you respect the ALDS, that team has a ton of opportunity to go places. There is a team in my past that's been swept and it hurt, and they came back next year and won the World Series. It's 15-16 with the Cubs. So if you're a Mariners fan, like, it happens. You get there, you taste it, you see it, you experience it. But dude, game 3, I can't even get away from giving the Mariners credit because, I can't believe they bounced back in game 2. I can't believe that they fought that hard in game 1 and had that big lead. I can't believe they bounced back in game 2, and I can't believe that they went 18 innings against the Astros at home. Like, you haven't played a home playoff game in 21 years, and you don't have to play 2 at the same time to reward the fans. You just go out, score 1 run in 17 innings, and you come back and you play tomorrow, and you still can't beat the Astros. You just can't.
I think it's an impressive sweep by the Astros. I don't think that this is going to suck for the Mariners, and they're probably going to remember this. They're never going to forget this, but it's going to help them moving forward. It's a young team with a tremendous amount of growth to take place over the offseason in their training program, into spring training, the development of new leaders, guys emerging and taking the next step forward in the progression as a major league player, some guys turning into all-star caliber players, guys like Kirby. I mean, in game 3, he goes out and throws 7 shutout innings in a win or go home game. That's going to help his confidence moving forward. The rest of that bullpen, they're pitching incredibly well. Just very tough the way it ended. The MVP for that game, and it doesn't surprise me, is Luis Garcia. He went 5 innings out of the pen. He gave up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, six Ks, and it just seemed like the Astros still had 3 or 4 more guys they could have used. They had Uriquidy down there. It's just when do you get a break from the Astros?
Yeah, apparently you can't.
Maybe in the 21st inning.
Dude, and credit to Garcia as well, because
with his braids too. How about the braids with the beads on them? When you pitch like that, do whatever you want. Rock the baby, just 97 mile-an-hour cheese, sliders, change-ups, just gross.
Yeah, it's the first time he came out of the bullpen since he threw an inning and 2/3 in April 25th, 2021. To come out in those circumstances. You show up to the ballpark, and I'm sure there's that element of hey, you got to be ready today. Anything could happen. But these motherfuckers have played. How many years of baseball have you played? Have you ever played 18 innings?
Yeah, I think so. I think we played.
Try not to big league me too hard here.
No, well, we played a game against Boston when I was with the Orioles, in like 11 or 12 or something. You'd have to look it up, but I think we ended up losing the game, I believe, but it was 16, 17, 18 innings. And then last year in San Diego, we played 16, 17, somewhere in that vicinity against the Yankees, I believe it was.
Okay.
So a couple times.
Well,
it's not fun at all.
A couple times. So I just to say a couple times. So it'd be like over 11 years. A couple times. 24 games so far in the 2022 postseason. 2 times we've gone deep. 15 innings, 1 game. 18 innings the next game. No, it's not a case of bad offenses. Those are good pitching staffs, good run prevention. Tuve goes 0 for like 7 in the game. J. Rod goes 0 for 7.
Yeah. Like you said, good pitching. Good pitching.
But
beats good hitting every day. Every day of the week. Maybe here and there. Yeah, great hitters will hit good pitches every once in a while. But then you'll just have strings of innings like this. And that's why it doesn't happen very often. Like you said, I've done it twice in 12 years. So it's very rare. Like eventually guys are going to make mistakes, or guys that make mistakes, it gets, taken advantage of by a hitter here and there. And you just expect like someone to just hit a solo homer in the 10th and the 11th and the 14th. So for it to get to that point in the game, all zeros, and the guys that are going out there pitching are like, well, fuck, I'm not going to be the guy to give it up, and then I'm not going to be the guy. Somebody's got to be that guy, and it's just tough way to end the series. But like I said, these Mariners guys, hopefully they're on vacation or going on vacation soon. They're going to unwind. They're going to kind of process the season, reflect on it with their families and friends, and get ready for 2023. And they're going to be better for this. They're going to be hungry and ready to play these Astros again. And look, it's not going to get any easier for them because the Astros aren't going anywhere.
if somebody has a mailing address for Adam Frazier, let me know. I want to send him a case of beer. That guy had so many opportunities, I feel like, in Game 3 to win it for the boys. And it's just the way it goes. Tough player, good ball player, Mississippi State Bulldog. A bunch of guys on that Mariners team that won me over throughout the end of the season, into the playoffs. I was on it. Maybe the word's not blessed, but I'm very grateful for being able to get a piece of the Mariners audience and learn more about their team and kind of why they're special. And I do think the Mariners are special. I do think they have a special ownership group. There's 17, 18 local guys that own it. When they bought the team, they hired Jerry DiPoto. He was in hot demand. They've given him 7-8 years, and he had to go through a bunch of stuff to turn the team over from Captain Jack, who was just a notoriously bad general manager, front office guy. And so the Mariners are finding a place to have some fun. They got huge payroll flexibility in a division that dominates the headlines, but never the time zones. It's of course the Astros are the best team in the American League, and of course Shohei and Mike Trout are the best players. And the Oakland Athletics, for all the much that they suck, they still capture the national heart and attention for what do you think? Because everybody's in on the Oakland Athletics. I mean, you just go down the fucking list for the AL West, and so it's cool the Mariners get to compete, but I don't want to shortchange the Astros. There's a player on their team. A lot of people were shaking their heads. They were like, Carlos Correa? How come you don't care about Carlos Correa? And they're like, well, we have a middle infielder who was born in Rhode Island, played college baseball at Maine that nobody knows about, but he's going to play shortstop for us instead of Carlos Correa. Who? Carlos Correa? Don't worry about it. Do you know how good you have to be for the organization to just, of course you do, but I was just to say, yeah, Carlos Correa, go right ahead to the Minnesota Twins. We got a guy we're going to pay $750,000 to take your spot. Obviously, I'm talking about Jeremy Pena, obviously the 18th inning home run. Before we get to him as the player, though, did you see any of the stuff that's come out about his physique? This is you have to like that. I saw it, and I was like, man, this is the first time I remember a player making waves, even though they're dominating, but people want to talk about how jacked he is. And not to be a loser, you're the last guy that was like that.
Yeah, I saw.
Right?
I don't know. I mean, I think.
You didn't see him doing the curls and saying,
No,
hey,
I did.
we should do a thing?
I didn't see him doing curls. I saw him in like an interview. They posted it on the network, and I saw like his left bicep. I'm like, that's different. You don't see that very often from baseball guys. And his tricep is bulging quite well. And I heard he's got an 8-pack, so he's a young, good-looking dude. I guess there's not much to do in Rhode Island other than train. But listen, like in all seriousness, I didn't know really anything about Jeremy Pena until the season, and watching him play, it's like, holy shit. And then in game one, Alvarez doesn't have that opportunity to hit that homer if Pena doesn't have that great at bat and hit that laser up the middle for a single. So the Astros, they don't fuck around. And like you mentioned, if you're going to let a guy like Carlos Correa go, you better have good reason for that. And if you didn't know about Pena by now, you're starting to figure out what kind of player he is. And I'm sure as an Astros fan, you're like, shit, like everyone loved Correa. Sure. I mean, he was a great player. Seems like a good leader. But I don't think they're missing him anymore. And that's not to discredit what kind of player, Correa is. Sometimes, guys come and go. Chris Bryant left. Rizzo left. Like the band, breaks up at some point and they move on and they go do things elsewhere. But definitely should be excited about this young player in Jeremy Pena. I'm more, impressed every time I see him play.
I want to give credit to the Astros scouting department, draft department, whoever's in charge of picking these players. Jeremy Pena was a 3rd rounder out of Maine. If that doesn't get your attention enough, if you don't hear wait, this guy's from Rhode Island, went to Maine and was just a 3rd rounder. It's not like he was killing it at Maine. And again, just all respect. I played at the division. This dude hit 305 in 3 years at Maine. He hit 305. He hit 12 home runs in 163 college games. I know guys that hit 12 home runs in a 3-week span in college because it was college fucking baseball. Jeremy Pena, 3rd rounder, as routine college stat lines go, hit 236 in the New England Collegiate League one year, hit 220 in the Cape Cod League. And then so when you look at the Astros and you're like, how do you do it? How the fuck every year, 6 straight ALCS appearances? It's an MLB record. By all means, they'll be back there next year.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
It's amazing development. It's amazing scouting. You're right, man. I mean, you got to give them so much credit for that. And to the points that you just mentioned, from Rhode Island, stat lines in college weren't going to excite really anybody to get this guy in the 1st round. I don't know. Is it character? Is it makeup? They thought that he just had so much more room to develop, which happens a lot, but typically those guys will go in the 1st round still, and they spend a year, they go to the fall league, then they spend a year in A-ball and they go to AA and then they're in the big leagues. But dude, this kid was under the radar, 3rd rounder. And you said, what he hit 12 homers?
Hit 12 homers in his college career. He hit 183 in the Arizona Fall League in 2019.
What?
I will say this. There was and you find more of these players now as the further we get away from the 2020 season. But for minor leaguers in particular, for guys that didn't have 40-man rights or any big league time, for the guys that were just the minor leaguers when COVID hit and they went on lockdown and there's hey, you can't play or, go train on your own. I think you see some guys that are where the fuck this guy come from? And it's well, I got 6 months to work on my shit, or I got, 8 months to level set. And it's not to say that the competition went one way or the other, but, you throw 5,000 of these minor leaguers in a room and you give them these uniform circumstances where it's dude, it doesn't matter if you're a Dodger or a Yankee or a National, whoever you are, you got to go do it on your own for a little bit right now. And I think there's a sense of individualism, because if you go look back at Jeremy Pena, it's 2019, all right in the Arizona Fall, good enough to go to the Arizona Fall League, impressed in high A and single A. But the steps he's taken, he's hit 22 home runs this year. That there's no comparison in his career. There's something there. There's a combination of him as an individual, but the Astros' ability to identify it, develop it, and put him in that situation. And if you go up and down the Astros lineup, like they have that through the pitching staff, they have it in the bullpen, they have it in the outfield.
You know what we need to do? We need to get a scout or a somebody from the Astros organization just that's kind of involved with that day to day, and just talk to him about it, or maybe talk to the scout that drafted Pena, and let's ask him those questions, because I'd be curious to hear what he had to say, or what he has to say about kind of his first impression, the progress that he saw throughout the duration of the time that he followed Jeremy, and what stood out to him that didn't necessarily register with other people that kind of followed his progress. So let's do that, because this is a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, I got a buddy who played a couple of years with the Astros as a higher draft pick, like 8th, 9th round catcher, smart kid, multiple time All Big Ten, was like the bedrock of the Illinois baseball program. Like the year after I left, he was the big recruit and all that stuff. And so he got drafted by the Astros, played a couple of years. We were out, having a couple, like 2 summers ago. And I was like, so what is it? Like, is it real? Like, is that all the big league stuff, how they know everything that's happening? And he was like, you have no idea how much information is at the minor league level. Like, we'd be in single A, and I would know every tendency of every person in that dugout. It would be coded into a wristband. We had a whole organizational way, the way that they scout guys. They have so much more information than everybody. And this is a smart kid. This is like a chemical engineer type student, one of those guys who's just like, oh, you rock. And he was like, I honestly am like uncomfortable with how much that they know about us and the other players. I'd be very much in pursuing this conversation. I think the Astros roll. This is a preview. I'm sorry, I gotta say, I think the Astros roll in the ALCS. I've been pumping the Guardians if they make it out of Game 5. The Yankees, especially now with all this travel stuff, as soon as this game's over, they're gonna have to get a plane and go to Houston. You have Justin Verlander coming off the worst playoff start of his life, I imagine. Oh God, good luck beating. I not joking. I think the Astros can get to the World Series without losing a game. I think they can sweep in the ALCS.
I think it's sure. I could see it. I could see it absolutely happening. I believe that the Guardians or the Yankees would just have to play like the best 5 games they've played all season to beat the Astros, and I don't think that's a stretch. I think that once you get up against a team like the Astros, especially in the postseason, like, you better not make any mistakes. And we saw that from Seattle, and that's why they're and for other reasons they're just not quite as good as the Astros, and they could be in a couple years, but it's just not the same level of experience, of understanding of situations. And I think that was pretty apparent in some of those at-bats that we've talked about, previously.
And I think through this ALDS with the Yankees and the Guardians, you've seen the weaknesses from the Yankees, where you can say conclusively, of the 5 remaining teams as we record this podcast, I think it's Astros are up there right now. And then the other 4 teams are, and no disrespect to the Padres and the Phillies, I think they're going to play a great NLCS. But the Yankees and the Guardians are going to be severely undermatched, whoever makes it out of that against the Astros. And whoever gets out of the NLCS, that's going to be a 7-gamer. I think that's going to be better than the World Series. I think if you were looking for – and I love what you said earlier, where it was like, dude, I wish you just give the World Series to the team that wins that matchup, because, yeah, you're going to get a great 7-game series from those 2 teams. Like we said earlier, they're so evenly matched.
Well, I think if and I don't want to – I hate to, like, already count out, the Guardians or the Yankees. I think a lot of people probably have. That's how good the Astros are. I think there is potential for, Yu Darvish, Musgrove, Snell, Ranger Suarez, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler to pitch well against the Astros. I do. I I just don't know. And it's not them specifically. It's not any one person or group or the bullpen. I just think collectively, I think the Astros are just capable of doing a little bit more in order to, get the job done to win the game. And that doesn't mean the Phillies or the Padres wouldn't score runs or wouldn't throw up zeros or have some shutdown innings out of the bullpen or get big hits. I just think the Astros get one more. They get one more hit. They have a little bit better performance out of their bullpen or from their starters, or they have a starter come out of the bullpen to give you fucking 5 innings like Luis Garcia. Just wild shit. I mean, and again, I don't want to discredit any of these teams, but that's frankly how good the Astros are.
Yeah. And they've been working towards this for years. 6 straight ALCS appearances. Especially amidst all the cheating allegations, they just keep going. They're so good they just don't care. I don't know. That's a completely different conversation.
Well, you kind of put that to bed, when you get there 6 straight times. It's like, oh, hey, these guys cheated. They can't do it without cheating. Well, you still think that because they don't lose.
And it doesn't seem like that's going to be changing anytime soon. Whoever wins between the Guardians and the Yankees absolutely have their work cut out for them. And then, like we said, across that on the NLCS side between the Padres and the Phillies, we've been blessed with an unbelievable NLCS, and I do sincerely think that that's going to go 7 games. Tough situation tonight getting rained out, but I thought we bounced back strong. For like a Game 5 little preview. We talked a lot about that. Like, we came in tonight, we thought Savali and Jameson aren't the only guys who got rained out tonight.
No, we had a marathon night ahead of us. We were ready for it, even if it was like an hour delay, hour and a half even, or 2 hours. We were committed to doing it. I don't like it for the game. I'm not completely upset that we didn't have to stream that and then do the show. You know what I'm saying? But I can't wait for it. I love winter go home games, and then I just look forward to the start of the championship series on both sides. I'm looking forward to going. I'll probably go to an Astros game since it's they'll be playing in Houston. We'll talk about it, but yeah, it was a good show. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate Colin staying up late for us, and thanks for everybody that are listening and being a part of this with us. It's been an amazing ride in the postseason, and more to come. More to come, baby.
More to come is right. This podcast is out on Tuesday. I believe I shouldn't say I believe. We are live streaming Padres Phillies Game 1 tonight. So tune into the Starting 9 YouTube page. Subscribe to that. Appreciate everybody who has so far. A lot of other couple things. Just shout out to the cop who pulled me over on the way home. Thought I was making an aggressive turn. Was like, hey.
Well, you were because you were late.
I was late. I was coming home. It was one of those situations where the red had turned red. Like there were 2 reds, and I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go anyways. Popped right away. Cop pulls up. And it's Chicago. In Chicago, some guys. Like, just shout out to the cop. He was like, oh. Hey, what's up? He was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I was like, I'm going home. I go, no joke. I was like, I'm late to do a podcast, and I think the guys I record, they're going to be super mad with me. That's why I made that turn. He's like, oh, who do you podcast for? And I was like, Barstool Sports. And he was like, us. That's good stuff, man. We had a nice moment. Well,
I'm glad you didn't get a ticket. And if you did, you wouldn't tell us anyways.
You feel the bond's getting strong now, huh? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because I wouldn't. I would never admit that.
And I wouldn't want you to. I want to believe that you didn't get a ticket.
And we fucking skipped all, we're in the middle of this playoffs. So we skipped all this stuff. Shout out Coop threw 2 touchdowns this weekend. The boys won. Marching the boys downfield and all that shit.
Did you
that
text
gets
my
me
wife?
Jacked up. No. Dude, we talked. I was like, yo, what's up with Coop? How's he doing? You're like, yo, dude, he's fucking killing it. He just threw another touchdown.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude,
Whatever.
you get
I'm
a
little
ton of
slow.
text messages. I don't send any. It's completely
Well,
different type
fuck.
of in and out.
He threw 2 dimes. He did. He took a big hit. He took a somehow he got tackled, and we'll get off the show. I know. He got tackled and got spiked, dude. He limped off the field, just all bloody. I'm like, hey, we still need you, so get out there.
Football team sounds dangerous.
It is dangerous. I want everyone to walk off the field uninjured, both sides. Like that's, win or lose. I don't want my 11-year-old son getting hurt.
Me neither.
Yeah, that's really what I care about. But also, he needs to throw touchdowns. So
absolutely. Boys over. Hit them downfield. This is Starting 9. Go subscribe to our stuff. We'll see you guys tonight for the Phillies Padres live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be around. We're available. Hit us up. This is Starting 9. Everybody drive safe. I got to get better at closing these fucking shows.
Nah, it was a good job. Good night, everybody, or a good day.